Today we are going to do this really cool dream catcher. Okay. Yes, it looks really hard. Is it really hard? No. I've been working with 5th graders on this one. It's not as hard as it looks, so do not be intimidated. Okay. You can leave it just black and white when you're done, or you can add watercolors and either oil pastels, color pencils. There's lots of ways you can finish this project. Or, like I said, you can just leave it as black and white. It's not a big deal. It is up to you. And as far as materials, it is one that most people actually have on hand in their house without it being a big deal. A ruler, pencil, pens. You can use a regular Sharpie, an art pen if you have one, a thicker Sharpie. I've even used gel pens, so it is up to you. And a compass. You can get one of the fancy compasses where you have to move it in and out to make your circles, or you can get some of the newer compasses that's easier for the younger kids and some adults to make circles with. So there's that. But if you go, oh, Miss Shauna, I don't have a compass, I can't do this project. Yeah, right. Think outside the box. Find some objects around the house that are different diameters and circumference, and any round object, trace around it, trace around something smaller until you have yourself a whole bunch of different circles within circles. It's up to you. And while these ones were relatively balanced, as in the same dimensions across, you could choose to have it less symmetrical. You could have it off balance so that it is asymmetrical. It's up to you. But here we go. Let's get started on this project, shall we? I'm going to start with a piece of paper. If you are going to be using watercolors or paints, make sure it's watercolor paper. Otherwise, just about any drawing and sketching paper will work. I prefer to use watercolor because I never know what I'm going to do with it on the end. I like to come back later and make adjustments as I need to. But here we go. I also really would like it to be a rectangle, okay? We need it to be a rectangle because you're gonna have stuff coming down. You're gonna have feathers, you're gonna have ribbons, whatever. At this point, it's a dream catcher. If you choose to not have any of those elements, it's more of a mandala. But it's up to you. Easy and fun. Let's break it down, shall we? It's not nearly as complicated as it looks. You notice we have one large circle, and within it we have several other small circles. Okay. Okay, so to get started, I always do it in pencil first, and then I'm going to go in afterwards and go over it with a pen, just a Sharpie, ultrafine Sharpies that I use. Okay. We need to create the center vortex area for where our circle radius is going to come from. Okay. I know the width of my paper is 11 inches. Now this might not be the case for your paper, but this is the case for my paper. Now, at 11 inches, I then know the halfway mark is going to be 5.5 inches and 5.5 inches. And I'm making my marks very, very light because I will be erasing them at the end. Make sure that's accurate. And I know I want majority of the dream catcher part itself to be up here, and I want the feathers and ribbons to trail down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how big overall I want my dream catcher to be. I don't want it up at the very top. I want to have a little bit of space. So I'm going to come down an inch, and this is going to be where I'm pretending my top of my paper is. Now I do not want my dream catcher to come down too far. So what I'm going to do is I want it to be, let's say, 6 inches. So from this being my top to the bottom here is 6 inches. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to mark down the 6-inch spot and the 6-inch spot. If I was measuring off the top, it would be 7 inches. So I'm just going to create a little line across here. Very lightly, because I will be erasing it. Okay. Now we find the middle here. The middle of our 6 inches is obviously 3 inches. So I'm going to create a little mark here for the 3-inch mark, and a little mark over here for my 3-inch mark. So what I have done now is I have the Vertex, which is what we're going to be putting our compass center as, and then we can go from there. If we go over the line, it does not matter, but we do have a center for us to work from. All right. Now, the center here is 3. This is the top. So if we come out here on this, we can mark down a 3. And we're going to come over here and we're going to mark down a 3. And this is not an exact science, so don't get really upset if the lines don't quite 100% line up. I know, this is weird. I am drawing squares and triangles, but that's okay. Bear with me. Now, if I was to go in, and I'm just going to show this so you quite understand, create this as my radius. I can go in, so I can put the little dot here in the middle of my compass, or if you're using one of these, the pointed section, and I'm going to just create a circle so you guys can see. Okay, so we have the ability to section this off into quadrants. Okay, so quarter, quarter, quarter. But what if we want our radial pattern to be divided even more than that? Okay, so that's why I drew these straight lines from the corners. So I can figure out what the center would be by figuring out how far across it is. In this case, it is almost 4.5. So 2.25 be there. this makes it even easier to add cool designs and keep them as symmetrical as can be. So now if you look at this section here, it's divided evenly, or as evenly as I'm willing to work on it right now. If you need to break it down even further than that and you want to figure out where the middle line would be, you just go in and maybe use the centimeter side so you can get down to millimeters, and you measure from here to here, which is close to 5 centimeters. So then you would do 2.5 right there. And then you can break it down on the other side and draw your lines. Okay, let's go ahead and add a few more things here. All right, looking good. And it's time to start adding all of our different embellishments. Okay, here's where we're gonna have some fun and you're gonna make this yours. Now, I'm gonna speed this up, otherwise we'll be here forever. You will notice I am using a pencil because I'm gonna erase everything, and I am trying to make more of a radial symmetry. So where I make one mark on my line, I make that same mark or graphic shape, whatever, on all of those so that it matches up. It has kind of a kaleidoscope effect in this way. And I'm doing it all in pencil, which means I'm not being like super careful with every single shape and line, because when I go in with my pen in a few minutes, I can be a little bit more meticulous with my markings. So I might not always have everything line up perfectly at the very beginning with the pencil, but I'll make sure I do a lot more of that when I come in with the pen. And I'll go back and forth because it's more radial, and come up with different designs. One circle area might have one design throughout the entire thing. The next one down, I might go with something a little bit different. And I vary the shape and the sizes of my marks. You're going to want to vary your line design and shapes and stuff a little bit so it doesn't have such a busy quality to it. A variety will really make stuff pop a bit more. You can go in with a really cool theme. Sometimes, you know, if you have something special in mind. My son is like obsessed with Star Wars. He made one where like each ring had a different like image from Star Wars. One ring had like the trooper helmets, another one had the starships. It's just interesting and fun. Make it personalized, and it brings out, you know, whatever passion you have in your own life into your own artwork. So definitely try a couple theme approaches. And yes, pencil is awesome because you can go back, and if you don't like your markings or you decided you want to go a little bit different with it, easy to erase the pencil. Once you get your pen down, you're out of luck for erasing. Okay. One thing to think about if you're really hesitant to make your own designs and marks is feel free to go in with some type of stencil. There are stencils in all different shapes. You can go in and it'll make it a little bit easier for you to keep balanced with your shapes and consistent with the lines and placement of stuff. So definitely look at it you might have for a stash of stencils. Stencils are your friend. Once you get down the majority of the image for the dream catcher part, then you can go ahead and start thinking about kind of ribbons, feathers, embellishments you want to have come off or drape off the bottom of the dream catcher. Remember, do this part in pencil. You can't erase a pen very well, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to decide if you want to reposition any feathers or ribbons or how they flow. Okay, I've got all of my design down and I'm pretty happy with it, so it is time for me to go ahead and go over it with pen as meticulous as I can. I'm going to be very, very careful at this point because once the pen's down, you can't exactly erase it. And one thing to make sure and remember that if you're planning on going over this project with any watercolor, you need to make sure that the pen you are using is waterproof. Otherwise, your lines will bleed and it will really, really affect the overall quality of your project. Another thing to take into account is the thickness of your lines. Once you get your main line down, and you're happy with that design, you are going to probably want to go in and maybe thicken a few of the lines up. I find your overall appearance of the dream catcher is a lot nicer when you have a variety of line thicknesses. It makes certain areas pop out more, and it just gives the details just that much nicer. One of the aspects I absolutely love about this project is adding the ribbons and the feathers down below. And of course, you know, you add your feathers in, you gotta add some cool little beads, and feel free to add some nice little designs on the feathers. The feathers can pop too. There's nothing that says it has to be a bland feather, you know. Add some designs, different elements here and there. Maybe after the project is completely done, you go in with a metallic pen and, you know, add a little pop here or there on it. Make it nice. And as you're going and you're finishing up the penciled area in a few areas, go in and erase those pencil lines that are poking through where the pen has already been placed. Make it as clean as possible, so your project looks as finished as possible.
One other thing to think about if you want to kind of add a few pops here and there, but you're not going to be using color and you just want it black and white, feel free to go in a few of these smaller areas and shade them in a little. You know, you can have a value range with your pen. You can go in and completely black out that one little area if you want to, but it gives a nice contrast throughout your project if you do something like that.
And voila, we have a beautiful dream catcher with ribbons and feathers and personality. Have fun with this project. Do a couple of them. Play with the different aspects of radial symmetry. It's fun. I mean, go off different themes. Think of Christmas time, winter time. You've got all different kinds of snowflakes. It just lends it to itself beautifully. And I love doing different ones, and you can see the differences in them. Each one's a little different. The smaller, tighter details lend a different feel. You can go off to the side for an asymmetrical look that has more of a native quality to it. And, think of different ways you can add embellishments at the end. I've got some oil pastels in just a few of the different areas, and, brought it down to the feathers. Have the watercolor for the whole overall aspect to it, just kind of dribbles down. It's really pretty. And then I added a little salt over it when the watercolor was wet, and it has a little crystallized quality to it. It's fun. I enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this project and you try it out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next round. Thanks. Bye.